No great event reaches the peak of success without having its fair share of strange and crazy moments. The UFC is no different. Keep watching this video to find out more about the strangest things UFC fighters have done inside the ring. Let's begin. First, Gerard Gordeau sends Taylor Tuli's tooth flying out of his mouth. This tooth-breaking moment happened during one of the first Ultimate Fighting Championship fights witnessed by the world in November 1993 and created quite the buzz. In the fight, Gerard Gordeau was up against Taylor Tuli. While Tuli was down, Gordeau gave him a hard kick that broke a tooth from his mouth and sent it flying away. It was like one of those intense scenes from a high-speed action movie. The tooth was shown broken from Tuli's mouth and flying away during the fight. This one moment by Gerard put UFC in the highlights and made everyone believe that the event was no joke. The fight left quite an impression on lightweight champion Dale Hart. Hart was 13 the time that the fight aired on TV, and he said he thought the fight was going to suck and be like a fake pro wrestling match. He was sitting a few feet away from the TV laughing and mocking the fight, thinking it was just another media event. And then suddenly Gordeau kicked Tuli's face and the tooth flew away. Witnessing this moment, Hart pulled up his chair within inches of the TV and did not move his head for the rest of the fight. The fight put UFC in line to become one of the greatest events of all time. Next, Gray Maynard spikes his head and knocks himself unconscious. In the UFC Ultimate Fighter 5 tournament, two promising prospects, Gray Maynard and Rob Emerson, were locked in a fight against each other. The fight was one where only one man could come out victorious and be declared the champion, but on that day, no one won. During the initial stage of the fight, Maynard hit Emerson with a body shot, and in the second round, Gray attempted a power double leg takedown on his opponent. This proved to be too much for Emerson, and he couldn't take it as he smashed against the canvas and broke his ribs. However, Emerson was not the only one to be hurt by the move. While giving a leg to his opponent, Maynard spiked his head on the mat and knocked himself unconscious in the process. The fighter did not agree with this and maintained that he was not unconscious at all, but the audience could see that Maynard was in no position to continue. The referees were stuck as there was no clear precedent on what to do in such a situation. Neither side could carry on the fight and no one had won, so a decision was made to declare the fight a no contest. Now, Jiří Procházka and his unique stance in the ring. Just two bouts into the UFC world and Jiří Procházka had already solidified his position as an MMA fighter. With a number 2 position in the light heavyweight division of the promotion, Jiří has established himself as one of the deadliest fighters so far in a very short time span. But there's another standout point about this contender. He has an odd karate stance and fighting style he takes on when inside the ring. Whether he tries to intimidate his opponents with his unique stance in the octagon or dons this power position to boost his self-confidence is unclear, but he definitely manages to grab some eyeballs with his position. Jiří is no ordinary man on his off days either. He is a follower of the samurai code and practices meditation inside a deep jungle, and he has a hairstyle that could start a trend of its own. In fact, when Procházka crashed Dominic Reyes with a brilliant move, he credited his antenna hairstyle for the idea, saying that he caught it through his Wi-Fi antenna. Up next, Paul Harris celebrates technical knockout win without actually winning. Husamar Paul Harris was up against Dan Miller in Rio, and fans were waiting excitedly to cheer their countryman as he went on to become the winner of the fight. Paul Harris himself was so eager to pick up the win that he forgot he actually had to win the fight before celebrating. He gave a blowing kick to his opponent in one sweeping movement and then went on to shower Miller with punches as he defended and covered himself up. The referee, Herb Dean, was about to step in, but Paul Harris was overexcited. He did not wait for any intermediation. The fighter thought he had done enough damage and climbed the walls of the cage to celebrate his victory without the referee having declared the match as complete. Herb Dean had to repeatedly tell him to get off the cage and finish the fight before any more celebratory actions. Next, channeling the crane kick from the Karate Kid. Randy Couture is a king of the MMA fighting world. His name is included among the 4 men to have ever won 2 UFC belts in separate divisions, and he has also gone up against and defeated master fighters like Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, and Vitor Belfort. The fighter has even been a part of the Expendables movie. In a match during UFC 129, Couture was up against Lyoto the Dragon Machida. Machida was one of the best counter-strikers in the game and had some incredible karate moves up his sleeve. In one such move, the Dragon made Randy think he was going to deliver a rear leg kick, but instead took it up a notch and delivered a jumping front kick that threw Couture to the canvas and ended his night. The kick looked quite similar to the crane kick from the Karate Kid and earned Machida some comparisons with the protagonist. Now, Pete Sell loses an almost victorious fight. In a fight, one usually sees a win or loss coming up. Sudden one-punch or kick knockouts do not take place often. In fact, it usually goes the other way around. One fighter gets locked in submission and then produces a tap within the next few seconds. The winning party takes a few more swings and strikes at the losing party and ends the game. When Pete Sell went up against Scott Smith in 2006, there was no such procedure to be followed. The second round of the action-packed fight was in motion, and the two opponents were fully engaged in throwing punches, much to the delight of the viewers. As soon as Smith was going to the lead, Sell fought back with a body shot that threw Smith backwards. Sell and everybody else knew that just 1 or 2 more punches were needed to finish off the fight. But Pete got careless and overeager, giving Smith a chance to redeem himself and win the battle. Smith even admitted later later that he felt defeated and only had one punch left in him. Next up, Diego Sanchez brings out his inner Spider-Man. Diego Sanchez is a pro fighter of the UFC who has been fighting for almost 2 decades and was the first winner of The Ultimate Fighter, which aired on TV in 2005. Marcin Held was a new fighter from Bellator with a striking record of 14 wins under his belt. He was also pretty young, being only 24 at the time he went up against Sanchez, who was 34. And even though Sanchez had a lot of experience under his belt, he had begun to wear down with time and had already lost 3 of his last 5 fights. The fight was initially in Held's favor, with Diego losing and Marcin being a fan favorite to win. The younger fighter had caught Sanchez in a guillotine choke, grasping so tightly that he was picking Diego off of his feet. But this was when Sanchez turned into Spider-Man. He used the fact that he was trapped against the fence to his advantage. He walked up the wall, pushed against the cage, and broke free from Marcin's chokehold. Diego went on to crush the younger fighter and came out with a solid win. Lastly, the classic entrance on Who Let the Dogs Out. Tom Lawler gets the whole game. He knows that being a great fighter is necessary to win titles and championships, but to become a fan favorite star and climb up the ranks, one needs to be entertaining. So before he took down CB Dalloway in the UFC 100 event, he made a classic entry and made a full show of it. The song Who Let the Dogs Out played in the background at full power as Lawler entered the Octagon. But the interesting and strange part was that he led cornerman and UFC alum Seth Petruzzelli on a leash. Tom said about the entrance, every time you win a fight, the perception's going to change a little bit more and you gain a little bit more credibility with the fans. You only have so long in this sport, whether you like it or not. Get out there and get people to know who you are, whether it's by walking your cornerman out on a leash, coming out to outlandish music, or wearing costumes. And that's a wrap for this video. What is the strangest moment from a UFC fight you remember seeing live? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.